CN Radio Network.
Well, I've actually seen some of the television productions they've done because one of my friends, George Woolley, a pro-life activist, has aired some of the video here in Austin on local access. Mark Crutcher is with LifeDynamics.com. We'll throw that up on screen for people watching us at PrisonPlanet.tv as we simulcast with the radio show throughout this hour. Later in the hour, we're going to open the phones up to talk about black genocide, Native American genocide. And again, 99% of whites don't know this is going on. But it was George Bush Sr. when he was working for Nixon who actually carried out sterilization. This is mainstream news, and abortions on the Native American reservations. So if you want the big socialized health care of Obama, get ready, because that's what it means. The same stuff that the Bureau of Indian Affairs gives people in the VA. But they've made a new film that is really impressive, and it gets into this whole history of black genocide. I'm actually looking for it in here. I had it in here. Oh, here it is. It's underneath Endgame. It's Ma'afa, Black Genocide in the 21st Century in America, and it's just an excellent film that everybody needs to see because like I said earlier, my film Endgame gets into the whole eugenics operation and how that's the religion of the New World Order, in their own words. A religion of death. They love death. They that hate me love death. And so that's why abortion is a sacrament to these people. And I'm not kidding. I mean, I come at this from a secular analysis. I am a Christian, but I don't let that be a rose-colored darkly, though it really gives me discernment. I look at things just coldly and analyze the history. And then I emotionally rally people to fight against it. But it is very, very real. So we appreciate Mark Crutcher for coming on the show and for producing this film. Mark, good to have you here.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. So tell us about your journey, your organization, what you do generally, and how it led you deeper down the rabbit hole to really the fount of this Planned Parenthood evil.
Well, we're a pro-life organization, as you know, and we do a lot of different pro-life things. We do a lot of undercover work. You may have be familiar with some of our work exposing the trafficking of baby body parts, how the abortion clinics chop up the babies they kill and sell them for parts.
Yes, I want to talk about all that. And I want many times, but to have you on, and for some reason it never happened. So this is hopefully the first of many interviews. Yeah, tell us all about it.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's a whole show by itself. But basically, that's another profit center for the abortion lobby is to chop up these babies and sell them for spare parts. And it's a fairly profitable endeavor that they've got going. We have no idea how large it is. We know it's still going on. We were undercover in an abortion clinic in Overland Park, Kansas for 31 months and came out with all the documentation on it. They actually put out brochures, just like you get on a new car or something, talking about how they sell the body parts. And then we also did an undercover investigation on the fact that Planned Parenthood is running a nationwide pedophile protection racket. They're protecting the men who sexually abuse and rape children. And we proved it, and I'll say it right here on your show. They're running a nationwide pedophile protection racket. If that's not true, that's libel and slander on its face, and they would have sued me the first time I said it 7 years ago. I've said it on over 200 national and local television and radio stations. They've never even once contacted me.
Now, for those that don't know, I should have read your bio for people, but it's so lengthy. You're on syndicated radio, TV. I mean, you reach millions of people every week. You might tell folks how big your ministry is, and they just back off and shut up. And see, I never knew this stuff either, but over the decades, that's what I found out. Devil-worshipping pedophiles basically run the New World Order, the global government, and they love death, they love killing babies. But please continue. So body parts, pedophile rings, black genocide, yes.
Yeah, no, one of the things that those of us in the pro-life movement have always known is that there was a strong racial element to the motivation behind the legalization of abortion. And so about 3 years ago, we launched an investigation into this. And what we have found, I mean, I've been in the pro-life battle for 30 years. I've been working in it full-time for 23 years. And Alex, I've learned things in the last 3 years that I never dreamed of. I work in this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the stuff that we've learned in the last 3 years is mind-boggling. And it is absolutely undeniable now that racism was a primary motivation, if not the primary motivation. Matter of fact, I would go so far as to say it was the primary motivation for the legalization of abortion to begin with. And what we did is we went back, and as you've seen in the DVD, we actually start at the time prior to the end of slavery, when not all white people, and not even all wealthy white people, but a certain select group of super wealthy white elitists began to wonder what was going to happen, or actually worry about what was going to happen when the end of slavery came, because they saw it was coming. And we're talking about in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and up until the mid-1800s. These people clearly saw that the end of slavery was going to occur one day. They didn't know when, but they were very alarmed at what was going to happen. And not from the standpoint of insurrection, which is what a lot of people talk about. The wealthy elite can always insulate themselves from insurrection. That's not their problem. What they were concerned about is the economic impact. For the most part, these are the people, this wealthy elite, this small cadre of wealthy elitists, were the people who had most profit from slavery. They had made billions on the backs of Africans that they had brought in here from Africa. And
it had been Christians that ended that, just like Christians are going to end their murder of babies again. But go ahead.
Absolutely. But they began to wonder what the economic impact was going to be of releasing 4 million people into the economy that they had kept artificially ignorant and unemployable. Basically, if you were black in the 1830s and you were set free, you only had one job skill, and that was to work on the cotton plantation. So what was going to be the impact of this is what concerned them, and their first idea was what's called colonization. They were going to just send all the slaves back to Africa. That failed miserably, even though it was widely embraced in our government. The United States Congress, what most people don't know is the United States Congress actually funded the American Colonization Society. So it was a very seriously taken concept. It just didn't work. And it's interesting when you start studying these things, Alex. You know, if you put things on a timeline, which is how we started this, we did it like a criminal investigation. We put things on a timeline starting in the early 1800s and continuing up to 2009. And one of the things that you see is every time this small group of elitists tried something and it didn't work, all of a sudden there was something else to try. And it's interesting that when colonization failed is exactly the same moment when there was a new philosophy introduced in the world called eugenics.
No.
The man who actually coined the term eugenics, or the word eugenics, is now today called the father of eugenics. And his name was Francis Galton. His family was extraordinarily wealthy. They had made their money from the slave trade. And he came up with this philosophy called eugenics. And basically what it is absolutely no different than what Hitler did, is the creation of the master race. And he thought that the world could manipulate the human condition to the point that we could do a better job than what God did. Basically, their theory was God did well as far as he went, but we can make it better.
And they really believe this. The Galtons and the Darwins and others were all intermarried, and they have like 9 kids, and 8 of them would die, and the other one would be retarded.
Right.
And they still thought, though, this was genius and beauty. So they really believed that they were creating a new super race.
Absolutely. And one of the things, and I knew who Darwin was, and I knew who Galton was before we even started this project. What I didn't know is that they were first cousins. Charles Darwin and Francis Galton were first cousins, and they worked together on these projects. And what you start to see as you start unraveling all of this is that basically Darwin was the philosopher, and Galton was the guy who put all this stuff into practice.
He was called the Bulldog.
Right. The eugenicists first started out with a plan that was basically what you might call passive eugenics. They believed that not only were Africans inferior intellectually to whites, they believed they were inferior physically as well, and that unless they had direction from the white community, they couldn't survive. They couldn't live without us.
So they set up the social welfare net and racial hygiene health departments, and that's our CPS and Planned Parenthood today.
That's what it evolved into.